for your singing and for your patience with the day. A message on peace. We're going to be looking at several different scriptures, so there's no place to turn to at this moment. But, I need to turn this thing on. Sorry. We're trying to... There it is. I'm hoping this will work because my Justin Bieber mic is bothering me. I don't care for it so much. Used to be Garth Brooks, but I'm not going to do that now. Living in peace. 429 times the Bible refers to peace. Peace with God is a fundamental pursuit in the Bible. We know Adam and Eve in their Edenic garden setting were not at peace with God. They wanted more. And so they sinned against God, and then they hid from God, and then God found them. And that's the thing. Peace with God being a fundamental pursuit is this: God pursues us. We don't always pursue God. Our pursuing of God is the result of His pursuing us. When I was a boy, a long time ago, early 60s, I still remember these two little Scotty dogs that had magnets on the bottom. Did anybody have those? I guess it's just poor people in Arkansas. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and there was a black one and a white one with a little magnet on the bottom. And you could, if you did not have the polarity, is that the right word for you science people? If you did not have the polarity correct, you could push one of them around with the other and it would stay about this far. But if you turned yours around, it went and came right to it. And so that's the thing. If God in His polarity is reaching and seeking us, if we will just turn, we're there. We're there. Behind peace with God is another necessary thing, and that is peace with one another. I don't know about you, but I hate conflict. I just hate it. Whether it's in a marital relationship, a parental relationship, a child relationship, a work relationship, and I really hate it in a church relationship. That's what makes people not want to follow God, because they see some of us who do not following God. The opposites of peace, if we want to go this way, is war, conflict, chaos, division, anguish, fear, suspicion, confusion, anger, and hatred. Can you share with me some words that are associated with peace? Anybody? Tranquility. You've seen my notes, Paul. Serenity. What else? Being at ease. Yeah. Calmness. Okay. Pardon me? Forgiven. Is that what you said? Okay. So we know what peace is. It's calm, it's quiet, it's harmony, it's a Honda automobile, being in one accord. These are the jokes, people. It's all I got. Contentment, unity, rest, security, truce, or treaty. Do you know what the Old Testament word is that's most often translated peace? Some of you do. Shalom It's how Jews greet one another. Peace. And shalom means a healthy, safe relationship. A healthy, safe relationship. In the New Testament, the primary word for peace is eirene, and you don't need to know that. But it refers to rest and tranquility. You know, I love the word tranquility. I don't get to use it near enough, I think. But I looked it up because there's a lot of words I know, but I don't really know them. You know, do you do that? So I looked it up. And tranquility is an inner peace and a quiet confidence that comes from trusting God, regardless of external circumstances. Tranquility. We used to sing a song with the kids. I'm not going to sing it. I've done enough of that today. With Jesus in the boat, you can smile in the storm. Any of you ever sang that? With Jesus in the boat, you can smile in the storm. And that's what tranquility is. That's what peace is. We live in a world in conflict. I told you I don't watch the news anymore because it makes me mad or it makes me sad. So I just get it from whoever does watch it. That's just a protection boundary for me. Peace in the world is tenuous. I mean, we're just one word or one movement from just having the whole thing spin out. Now, God's in control. Understand that. That's why I have peace. But it's kind of iffy around the world. Racial tension is high in many places. Political parties right now are vicious toward each other all the time. Our cities are plagued with violence. Somebody asked me not long after we moved to Omaha, is it very violent up there? I said, I think somebody gets shot or stabbed every day, but they don't all die. And I'm pretty much that way. But not only the world, not only our cities, but our families are often without peace. They're harsh and they're angry to one another. Believers in churches can be cruel to one another. And as I was saying to someone earlier, church hurt is deep hurt. Church hurt is deep hurt. And another one, people can even be at war with themselves. Have you ever been like that? You know, my favorite, it wasn't a cartoon, it was an actual television show as a kid, was Dr. Dolittle. Remember that? And the animal that I remember most was the push me pull you. Anybody remember that? Bill remembers it. Bill remembers everything that I remember. I'm so glad you're here. But it was a two-headed llama or something. And it was always trying to decide which way we're going to go. People are like that within themselves. Paul talked about that. He said, I find within myself a law. The good that I would, I do not do. But the evil that I would not do, that I do. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from this body of death? And so, not only unrest and lack of peace out there, and not only the same thing nearby, but it can be in here. So I got 4 things I want to share with you today. You're welcome, Brian. Even number. Living in peace is a conscious decision. A conscious decision. You know, you'll only get in trouble if you make unconscious decisions. Secondly, living in peace is a Christ-centered decision. There is no real peace outside of Christ. Thirdly, living in peace is a combined spiritual decision. We'll talk about that more. And living in peace is a conversion decision. You know, Jesus said we could have peace in spite of the world. He told us in John chapter 16, as he was making his way to the cross, that these things have I spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world, he said, you're going to have tribulation. But be of good cheer, I've overcome the world. In me you may have peace. We look at Isaiah chapter 9 and verse number 6. For unto us a child is born. Christmas in July. Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Prince of Peace. We know Jesus, finding his disciples hiding after his crucifixion and subsequent resurrection, they were hiding in a room at night because they were anticipating that if they killed our leader, guess who's next? John chapter 20 verse 19 says, "Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the disciples were where the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood in the midst and said to them," what? "Peace be with you." I don't think that was just a greeting. I think he spoke peace to hearts that weren't experiencing peace. Isn't it wonderful to have someone who always knows the exact right thing to say? Peace be to you. Well, let's talk about our points. Living in peace is a conscious decision. One of my favorite verses, I refer to it so often to myself and in conversation with others, is Isaiah 26:3. "You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you." A conscious decision. What does that mean? That means my mind must be stayed on Jesus. My mind must be stayed on him. And the reason my mind should be stayed on Jesus, focused on Jesus, is because I trust him. I trust him. So I'm going to focus on him and not everything going around, all around about me. So yesterday, or last night, I took Penny to the doctor because she's just getting sicker and sicker with whatever this is, and she doesn't really have the resources to always battle them because of her immune system. But I took her, and while I was there, she and I decided that I better go ahead and get a chest x-ray. So I got one of those. It's fine. But they had a television on down at the end of this big waiting room. And it was Pirates of the Caribbean. And I've never watched that whole movie. But there's some scary stuff in there. There's some ugly creatures in there. And so they took her back, and so I moved closer to it because I couldn't hear it. And at the end, and I don't know which this was one or two, if there's 6 of them, I don't know. And so at the end of it was on when I was sitting down there, and these 2 pirate ships, I assume, were bracketing the Endeavor. You know how I know it was the Endeavor? It was written on the back. And they started shooting at it. And evidently the captain of the Endeavor wasn't going to fight back. I don't know the plot. I don't really care. But I do hate that octopus face guy. He is creepy. Didn't like that at all. But they're blowing this good ship in the middle up from both sides, cannons and all this stuff. And the captain starts walking down these long stairs. And of course, I'm sure it's CGI or whatever. And there's parts of the boat blowing all around him and over him and under him. And every time he takes a step, the handrail behind him is disintegrated. But he's just walking like he doesn't even see the stuff. And I thought while I was watching that, that's what this verse is. You are tranquil. You are peaceful. You are trusting. Because your eyes are on Jesus, and everything else that's flying around you doesn't impress you much. That's my thing. If you've seen the movie, you know the scene, you know what I'm talking about. A conscious decision means that we must direct ourselves toward God and away from the things that decrease our peace. That should be a bumper sticker. Turn away from the things that decrease your peace. Most like a little rap there. Very little. It's a matter of focus. Where are your eyes? Where are your thoughts? Where is your heart? And where are your actions? Living in peace is a Christ-centered decision. In John chapter 13, 13, he told them, I'm going to go away, and I'm going to be betrayed into the hands of sinful men. But after 3 days, I'll rise again. And then in John 14, he says, let not your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. And so Jesus is walking from the upper room to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he will be betrayed and arrested and face the awfulness of his trials and crucifixion. And as he finishes this, he tells them, but peace I leave with you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. The word for trouble means a constant stirring. It's some of you may still have one of these. We don't have one, although Penny wants one. A washing machine that has an agitator in it. Because we got one of them circle thingies, and she wants one that does this. And I think you can get them now again, but the word for trouble there is agitate. Agitate. And so, let not your heart be agitated. Don't let the things, the unpeaceful things of the world just keep agitating you. Just keep stirring you up. And this is, neither let it be afraid. That's just pure old fear and anxiety. What if? What if? There's a little quote that I see sometimes in different places, like crafty things and stuff. And it says, this little girl, I guess, is asking a question, and she says, what if I fall? What if I fall? And then whoever's speaking to her says, but child, what if you fly? You know, I think I'm not used to this. I think sometimes we're so focused on what if I fall, we never consider, but what if we fly? And Jesus said, I'm not going to give you the peace that the world has, because the peace that the world has is temporary. Temporary. We have these conflict resolution things. If you work in a company and you get into it with a coworker or a manager or something, you go to HR and they'll have conflict resolution. And then you'll have to answer all these questions and find out what kind of a person you are. Whether you're a relator or whether you're an influencer or whether you're a whatever. I'm just me. I got pulled into one of those one time. I wasn't the one in conflict, but the whole department had to go to this silly thing. Sorry. And I didn't learn anything. Because, to be quite frankly, I'm one thing today and another thing tomorrow. I'm just like that. But the peace that is accomplished through the world's things is temporary. It just takes one or two things to pop off and it's all up in the air again. But Jesus says, I'm not going to give you a temporary peace. I'm not going to give you a counterfeit peace. Have you ever been involved in counterfeit peace? You know what counterfeit peace is? It's a truce. It's when two people hate each other, but they just decide we're not going to hurt each other. That's not tranquility. That's not peace. That's just, I'm going to avoid you. The peace that Jesus gives is not temporary. It is not tenuous. It is not counterfeit. It is genuine, real peace. We must take control of our heart. And part of that is you need to be careful to whom you give your affection. Be careful to whom you give your affection. And don't look to people for peace and happiness. Look to Jesus. Look to Jesus. Being a Christ-centered decision, you must understand and count on the fact. You must know how much you matter to God. Do you realize how much you matter to God? You may not matter to anybody else. They may like you. They may tell you they love you. They may support you mainly because of what they can get out of you. You don't really matter to them. But you need to know how much you matter to God. Luke chapter 12 says, "Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? And not one of them is forgotten by God. But the very hairs of your head are numbered. Do not fear, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows." If God cares for the little birds, last night after having to go to a pharmacy that was open at 8 o'clock, we drove through Kentucky Fried Chicken over on 84th and Harrison. And we got up there, and Penny hadn't eaten all day because it was just hard for her to eat. And I said, let's get some food, because I was hungry too. And so we drove up to the drive-thru, and in the corner of this drive-thru down there is always a puddle. I don't know if it's from their sprinkler system or something, but it was filled with little birds. Bird bathing birds, or bird bathing birds. And they were just in there having the biggest time, and she said, "Don't hit them." I said, "They'll fly away." She said, "You always say that." Well, I was right yesterday. But I saw all these little birds there, and I don't know if they were sparrows or not, but they were not as big as my hand. They weren't a tufted titmouse, I know that. But anyway, little brown birds. And I thought, I already had my sermon done, but I thought, God cares for those little birds. Why wouldn't He care for us? Because we are created in His image, and He gave His Son to die on the cross so that we could have a relationship with Him. How much do we matter to God? You may not matter to a lot of people, but I'm telling you something. You matter to God. And you matter to me too, by the way. When we understand how much God loves us, we can choose to trust Him in the midst of our agitation, and in the midst of our anxiety, and in the midst of our pain, and in the midst of our struggle. Third one, we're going to get finished today, I promise. Living in peace is a combined spiritual decision. You may have thought I did that just to get another C in there, but no. A combined spiritual decision. Philippians 4:9. The things which you have learned and received and heard and saw in me, these do. Do. And the peace of God will be with you. It's not just enough to focus on God and to cast all your care on Him because He cares for you. There's action that has to be involved. It's not just about thinking and being, it's about doing. Proverbs 16:7 says, when a man's ways please the Lord, He makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. A man's ways, not just his heart. Living in peace doesn't just come from a change of thinking or a change of feeling. It is accomplished when there's a change of doing. We must live a life that pleases God in order for Him to establish peace within us and peace around us. When I think about the absence of peace, I think about drama. I do not like drama. Any of you like drama? Some of you like to watch these. I'm not busting you up here. Some of you like to watch these television shows where they throw a bunch of people in a room or a house and just watch them fight. I don't like that. This is not me. I mean, if you like it, you do you, but it's not me. I've said before that when I was growing up and going to a friend's house or something, and my friend would get in trouble, and his mother usually would just lay into him. I hated that. I didn't like that at all. And that television show that has people that make alliances to try to get rid of other people and stuff, I don't like that. I'm not better than you. I'm not worse than you. I'm just different. I just don't like that stuff. But it's not about just thinking peace. It's not just about putting your fingers like this and crossing your legs and saying, Om, Om, Om. That's the electrician's word. Om. Got that, didn't you? Got that, didn't you, Reese? Glad to have the Hogans with us today from Arkansas. So glad you came. It's not just about the thinking and the being, it's about the doing. You've got to pursue peace. You've got to be peaceful and try to get peace around you. It's a combined spiritual decision that's by living a big biblical life, we can really know peace inside and outside. Last one, your favorite. Living in peace is a conversion decision. A conversion. Paul said this so plainly. Therefore, having been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. Being justified by faith. You're not going to be justified by works. You're not going to be justified by rituals. You're not going to be justified, which means to be made right with God, through the doing the good things and not doing the bad things. You're going to be justified with God through faith. You're going to trust in. I talked to Wednesday night about our relationship with God, and it's just like we're stuck in sin, and we're like an infant that just puts his hands up to his father and says, "Uppy, uppy, pick me up." That's all we do. We just raise our hands to God and say, "I can't do this anymore. It's not working anymore. I've tried, I've failed. I need you to take care of this for me." The only lasting peace is found through being right with God, through faith in Jesus Christ. Another one of my favorite little ditties is this. If you know God, you can know peace. If there is no God, then there is no peace for you. Remember these things. Living in peace is a conscious decision. You've got to make up your mind. It's also a Christ-centered decision. You'll never have true peace, genuine peace, everlasting peace without Jesus. It's also a combined spiritual decision. It's not just how you think. It's not just how you feel. It's what you do that brings about peace. And lastly, it's a conversion decision. Paul, I know I've put you on the spot today with a lot of things, but could you play a little music for us? Let's stand together. I want you to consider peace today and whether or not you're living in peace, whether or not you even want peace, or if you like the conflict, if you like the turmoil and the anxiety and the agitation. That's not healthy for you. That's not healthy. So this morning, you can live in peace. If you don't know Christ as your Savior, you can trust Him. You can express your feelings however you want to express them, but you can express them by saying, "Dear God, I know that I'm a sinner, and I'm not getting any better. I've tried and I've failed, and I've tried and I've failed, but I need forgiveness is what I need. I need to be right with you, and I want to be right with you by trusting in you as my Savior. And you can pray a prayer like that today, mean it from your heart, and He'll forgive you. And He'll bring a peace that passes all understanding. I've known of people that have been through so much difficulty and struggle and trial and tribulation, and yet there was a peacefulness about them that was unexplainable. And it came from God. You can have that today. You can have it. All right, Paul, that'll be good. Thanks for coming today. I know it was a different day. I know you'll be happy to have Penny back. I know I will. So good to see all of you. So glad that you're here. Remember the announcements, prayer request list at the back. Arlene's birthday coming up. Midweek service on Wednesday. Come and join with us. We're in the book of Galatians. I think we may be finished with chapter 2. Don't get your hopes up. We'll see. All right, let's bow for prayer. Claude, would you dismiss us, please?